the whole time rolling our feet because we could. I could anyway. But we're going to start with a little bit. So it's up to you. You've got a few choices here. You can either sit on a chair and just roll your feet out on the chair using either a ball or a rolly thing. So the rolly thing could be a water bottle, a rolling pin, could really be anything that is cylindrical that rolls. And the ball, we talked about tennis balls, but it could be anything like if you've got a spiky ball or a firm ball, and just thinking of using this to massage the tight areas of your feet. So it's a kind of active massage, standing or seated, your choice. So I'm using, and you can kind of use both. We'll probably spend about 4 minutes doing this. I'll talk you through what I'm doing, but you can do it in your own way. If you're standing and you want to have something to balance, just be near a wall or a worktop. So I'm just going to start with my cylindrical item, which for me is a hand weight because I forgot my bottle again. And I'm just rolling out. So thinking a combination of rolling specific bits of your foot and then also the whole foot. So I'm starting off with the ball of the foot. And then as much as you can, trying to stand up tall at the same time. So that standing leg is really active. If you're standing up, you're putting some weight through the foot. If you're sitting down, exactly the same things kind of apply. And then when you find a tender place, depending on how tender it feels, you can decide whether you want to put a little bit more pressure or whether you want to take a little bit of pressure off. So I can't feel your feet. If you feel like crying, that's probably too much pressure. And some people have incredibly sensitive spots on their feet. So, take it in a way that feels like you're massaging and, when you are massaging your any part of your body, you might come across tight places that feel quite sensitive. But you don't want to be causing yourself huge amounts of pain. And so my cylindrical thing, I'm putting my toes in slightly different positions as well. So I'm carving my toes over, and then I'm also doing some with my toes flexed. When I flex my toes, my eyebrows go up. And when I carve my toes, my eyebrows go down. I don't know how the two are related, but apparently they are. Okay, and then because I've got the ball here as well, I'm just going to use the ball. I'm going to just take more kind of like circular movements here. I'm just doing this quite lightly, really. I'm almost thinking about just loosening my ankle and trying to get as much freedom in the ankle as I can. I'm doing some wee sidey-side movements and little circles and just moving to different places. So it's not always, it doesn't always have to be a super hard, super strong. And just think a little bit about waking up the soles of your feet. Popped. I think it was the ball. I don't think it was my foot. Okay, and then putting that foot down. And we'll do the same with the second foot. Just so you can take a moment to notice in between. So why do we pay attention to our feet? Because they're part of our body, and we should pay attention to all the different parts of our body. Feet tend to be a little bit overlooked, maybe because they're far away from your eyes. Tends to be, I'm not saying in everyone's situation, but a lot of us don't pay that much attention to our feet until we need to. So until we have some kind of foot pain or some kind of foot problem, and then we suddenly remember that the feet are there. And by foot care, obviously there's the cosmetic stuff, so you've got your painting your toenails maybe, but actually looking after the foot itself rather than just how it appears. And like any part of your body, you know, if you don't pay it any attention, if you don't give it any love, then sometimes there are issues. But also our feet, so our feet are directly related to lots of other parts of our body, and obviously there's a whole field of reflexology, which I'm not going to really talk about because I don't know enough about it. But how you stand, how you walk, all these things. So it could be that you have pain in one part of your body, and I'm sure we've all been to a physio or someone who's told us something about the way that we stand or something about the way that our feet are is responsible for some other thing in your body. And thinking about ankles as well, so also balance. So your feet are directly related to how balanced you're going to feel, how likely you are to fall over. We have all these little proprioceptors on our feet which respond really quickly, or ideally they respond really quickly. So by kind of, I can't think of the word, waking up the soles of your feet, I'm just switching to the ball. So it's kind of an unstable surface, and I'm just circling around the ball of my foot on the ball. So you're trying to make these proprioceptors as sensitive and as quick reacting as possible. And we're trying to make sure that our ankle and our foot are really flexible so that we have that full range of movement, which again is useful for everyday life, but also in particular in terms of balance and how we stand, how we walk. Okay. So then just standing on your feet for a moment or two. Let me come to my mat. We're going to take our feet into parallel. So hip width apart, and then just pressing, think of spreading that whole foot, and we're going to lift all of our toes, spread them out, and then we're going to try and put them down one at a time, outside to inside. It will probably feel like we're all going down at once, but just try and do it anyway. And then big toe comes down, and then lift them and spread them. I'm just doing this with my hands so that you can kind of, if you can't really see my toes, and then putting them down from the big toe to the little toe. So all of mine just went down at once there, don't worry about it. It's just that kind of feeling of spreading and trying to move them independently. And then just moving through the ankle, so lifting one heel and then the other. Trying to keep your alignment so you're not rocking out onto your ankle or rocking in into your ankle. See if you can keep that sense of hips staying still and just stretching out that alignment. Or stretching out the ankle, sorry. 4, 3, 2, and 1. All right, we're going to come down to our mat, and we're going to just move through some of the basic mat work, mat series, with just having a little bit more awareness on our feet and our ankles, and then we're going to do a little bit of hand and wrist work as well. So finding your way down to the mat. So we're going to start with our feet hip width apart, and then just bring your feet in a little bit closer so you can have that whole foot on the floor. And see if you can really try and press down all of the toes, the ball of the foot and the heel. So this is really firmly planted. And it might be for you that you need to slide them in closer together. So if your feet are way out here, sometimes people don't have a huge amount of flexibility in that they can't keep their toes down because this here is too tight. So as they curve back, the toes have to lift, not because of the hip flexors or the strength or the weight of the body, but actually because that is tight. So bringing them in a little bit closer helps that. However, bringing them in closer makes the roll back harder. So you'll probably find with your feet in closer that you can't go as far back. But try and really press down through all edges of the feet, inside edge, outside edge, and heel. Take your arms up, pull your belly button in, and then just roll back, but keep your awareness on your feet. And whenever you feel your feet starting to feel even a tiny little bit light, then I want you to stop there and try and draw the navel into the spine and then come back up. So we're trying to work on keeping the feet flat, and that might mean you can't go back very far at all. We'll try 3 more. Hands can be behind the thighs if you like. Press down. So check out for you, is it your big toe that feels like lifting? Is it the inside ball of the foot? Is it the heel? Is it, you know, it could be different for every single person. And just try and keep that whole foot down. So spread your toes, keep the toes down as much as you can. Draw the navel into the spine and then come back up. And in this last one, we're going to come all the way down. So with as much control as you can, slowly, 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 slowly rolling down, all the way down to the ground. So I'm falling off my mat a little bit, I'm just going to come back in again. So we're going to keep these feet flat. We're going to do the 100 with that idea of our feet pressing down. So the feet spreading. You can bring your legs together or you can have them apart. Your head can come down anytime you need to. So we're going to take a deep breath in, stretch your arms overhead, fingers long, and then as you exhale, curve up and just press down through your feet as you do your 100. So press down through the heel, see what happens. Press down through the ball of the foot, see what happens. Press down through all the fingers. So for me, as I press down with the foot, it actually helps me stabilize my pelvis, which is nice. And it makes it harder for me to lift my upper body though, which is more challenging. So make sure you're breathing, broaden your chest, reach through your fingers. Nice strong breath, draw the navel into the spine. If you need to rest your head, rest your head. We'll go for 30 more. Breathing out. 20. Press down through all the toes. Some of my toes lift. And that's 10. Draw the navel in. And 4, 3, 2, 1. Rest your head down. Just turn it from side to side a couple of times. So when we're working with our hands, we want to have, I almost think of my arm as like an oar. So fingers all together and the thumbs, or like if you were swimming, you know, rather than having that kind of loose wrist or loose fingers, trying to make it that idea of length all the way to the fingertips. And it kind of gives you this whole strength underneath the triceps rather than all of this kind of becoming quite soft. So we'll have some attention on our hands as well today. So take this position here when you're, I think we call it sometimes blades, meaning legs like a kind of blade, but like the blade of an oar is what I think about. Right, hug your right knee in and just give it a little stretch towards you. And then stretch that leg up. So if you can, straighten the leg, do. If you can't, don't worry. And then we're going to bring all our attention to our ankle and our foot. So start off just by pulling your heel towards you, away from you. Push the heel away from you and try and wake up the back of the leg. Pull all of your toes towards you evenly. So your big toe will probably come towards you most, but see if you can bring the outside edge of the foot down as well. And then press away through the ball of the foot. So stretching slightly different parts of your leg. And then maybe reach the toes long. They don't need to kind of come into a like curled up position. Think more of length. And then press the ball of the foot away and then press the heel away. And notice if your ankle sickles. So this is me sickling my ankle just now, bringing my big toes towards me and I'm kind of twisting the ankle. You want to try and imagine that you're on a flat foot. So as if you're standing on the floor. Okay, reaching all your toes, make them spread as wide, and then do some big circles all the way around. And then change direction. Okay, we're going to keep that floint, which is reaching through the ball of the foot without pointing the toe. Blades with your hands, press down firmly through your hands, your triceps and your wrists. Sink your foot, that is your left foot, press that into the ground to wake up the back of that left leg, and then circle this leg. And try and have this feeling of being free from the hip, but lengthening through the leg and pressing down through everything else. and sometimes when you have this real stability elsewhere, change direction, then you get a little bit more freedom in the actual hip joint to just move nice and freely. 2 and 1. Good. Hug that knee in. Place it down. I'm going to push my right foot down firmly as I hug the left leg in. And then stretch that left leg up. So thinking about pushing the heel away first. I'm using my hands to support the thigh. You don't need to. Press that heel away and pull all of your toes towards you, not just the big toes. So this can be quite a tight area for a lot of people, so just do what you can. If you've got a wee bend in your knee, that's fine. Now press the ball of the foot away and then reach through the toes as best you can. And then ball of the foot, pull the toes back towards you, and then heel presses away. We'll do that again. Ball of the foot presses away, toes reach away, ball of the foot, and then heel. Okay, press down through your right foot. Take your blades into, your hands into blades, press them down, triceps pressing down, ball of the left foot pressing away, and then circle for 5, 4, 3, 2. Try and keep your right knee still. 1. Press down through that right foot. Circle for 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Good. Hug that knee in. And then we're just going to bring in both legs. And we talk about the feet to the seat. So you're going to bring your heels together and try and, as much as is possible, if you've got knee issues, don't worry about the feet coming in. But if your knees are quite healthy, think about reaching and trying to press the feet in and curving up. So rather than pressing the knees in and curving the tailbone off, pressing the feet towards the seat and then lifting your stomach up, your upper body up. If that's uncomfortable in your knees, just do this with your legs, hands behind your thighs instead. So we're going to curve in and then we're going to reach our arms and legs up and reach through the feet, reach through the fingers, and then pull it all back in. And we're going to do this 4 more times. Reach out through the fingers, reach out through the toes, and scoop it all back in. Reach out, pull your belly button, and bring it back in. And 3, and in, and 2, and in, and 1, and in. Good, rest your head down, and then just circle your ankles a couple of times. Okay, come up, roll up to sitting, and just take your feet in front of you. I'm going to take our hands slightly behind us. We're just going to take a little run through your heels. So just as fast as you can, and as you do this, try not to disappear back into your shoulders. So use your stomach to keep yourself lifted, and then go through the whole foot. So flat foot. The ankles, and then the ball of the foot. Maybe feel your quads and your hips here, and then the tips of the toes as fast as you can. And then the ball of the foot. And then the flat of the foot. And the heels. It's my quads. And then relax. Okay, good. So the feet should be feeling a little bit more live and awake now. We're going to turn onto our hands and knees. And just doing a little bit of wrist work here. So I'm trying to figure out the easiest way to show you. So we're going to, this is like a wrist press up. So all you're going to do is come from flat hands to fingers and down. Flat hands, fingers. So if this is too strong, do it with one hand at a time. And if that still feels too much, do it against a wall or something instead. Wrist to fingers. So any of these are going to help strengthen your forearms and help strengthen your wrists. If you need to take your weight back, take your weight back. But if you can, instead of doing it with your weight back here, no weight on the arms, try and bring your weight over your hands and press up for 4 more. 3, I get really tired forearms doing this. 2 and 1. Good. And then we're just going to come onto our knees if knees is comfortable for you. If knees isn't comfortable for you, you can sit, you can come on, sit on a chair. I'm just going to do a few more wrist exercises here. So I'm going to start clasping the hands and just drawing little circles with the wrists, and then clasping your hands the other way and just continuing. So kind of keep this nice and loose and soft. Okay, so you take, this is a little bit complicated. Take both hands out, turn them back to back. So this will be a kind of ladder move that you'll get to a point where you might not be able to go any further. Just stop at the bit where you can't go further. Bring the palms, palm to palm. Okay, and then you're just going to try taking them down. And then, oh wait, sorry, you should interlace them. Sorry, so they're interlaced, so they're stuck together. And then just see if you can bring them down. So at this point, I'm going to take my elbows away from each other, just stretch the back of the wrists there, and they're kind of stretched with a little bit of a twist, and then bring them up, let the elbows drop. So you might get to a point where you just can't move any further, that's fine. So maybe it's just moving from here to here. If you can, try and keep the palms together and then take them forwards. Don't worry if that last bit doesn't happen. Okay, and then taking it back. And then undo them. Switch over. So just doing the bit that works for you. So maybe it's just this here. That's quite a nice stretch on the top of the wrist. Maybe you're going a little bit further and bringing them over. And then it's just that feeling of, so as I start taking my fists forwards, I'm getting a little bit of a stretch on the wrist. If it feels like it's going to break your elbow, then don't take them all the way out. Okay. And then bringing it back and undoing. Okay, bring the palms back to back and just lift the wrists up, let the elbows drop down, and then do the opposite, let the hands go and let the elbows come up. And then moving up the way, and then moving down the way, and moving up the way, and moving down the way. Okay, we're going to undo that. Just open and close your wrists a couple of times, elbows tucked in. Make a nice tight fist, and then open, and then make a nice tight fist, and open. So if you need to change your leg position, you can. This is, so I want you to imagine that you're a waiter, and you've got like a plate of drinks on each hand, and you're just going to open them out so they're not tilting or rolling back, they're just trying to stay flat, and then bring them back in. So opening and just trying to keep them flat, and look at them if you're not sure. You'd be surprised sometimes what feels like flat doesn't look like flat. And in, and opening them out, and bring them back in, and opening them out. Okay, from here, we're going to tuck our fingers in, and then roll our wrists in, and bring that up to our shoulders. So stretch in the wrists, and then take it back down. Press your, so keep tucking your wrists in, and then bring it back up. And then take it back down. And then bring it back up. So it's like a weird wrist stretching bicep curl. Squeeze it in for 3. Squeeze your thumb in. Keep trying to bring the knuckles in towards your wrist. And down. And 1. There's quite a lot of forearm strength as well. And then release that down. Stretch the arms wide. Just circle the wrist a little bit. You might feel quite tight in your forearms after that. I do. We're going to take them down this way, so you're going to have them facing back towards you. If this is too much with both, just do one at a time. And keep your elbows soft. So you're going to try, and maybe you're putting more weight through the other hand, maybe you're quite comfortable with both. And you can just take a little sway back if that feels okay. So only if it feels okay in your elbows. So a wee sway back and then forwards. If any of these feel too much, really just come out of them. Try and spread all your fingertips down. If you're okay with this one, just come back a little bit farther and let the heel of your hand peel up and then take it back down. So let the heel of your hand peel up, handing back down. And that's when the heel of the hand goes back up and down. Okay. Turn your hands over, and we're going to come up to kneeling. Think of nice, tall spine position, and then take your arms out, touch the wall. If you want to tuck your back toe, we're going to come all the way to stand. So Joseph Pilates had an exercise that he called castanets, which is really good for your hand coordination, and also, you know, if you have any hand or finger issues, this is a good one. So there's a few different variations of it. We're going to do it with our heels together, connecting the heels. And yeah, the variation I'm going to do is spreading the hands wide, and then you're going to try and touch your thumb to the middle of your palm, and then take it out. And then touch your index finger to the middle of the palm, and then take it out. And then middle finger to the middle of the palm, and out. And ring finger, and out. And little finger, and out. So that's what we're going to do, and it might be that they all curve in. So, you know, especially, like, we can't expect our hands just to do these things if we never do them. So don't kind of go, oh, well, my hands just don't do that. Just work on it. Think about trying to move them individually. Doesn't matter if they do move individually just now, but aim to do that. We're going to do these with our hands down in front, but actually kind of more like a first position, up, and then we're going to take them here, and then we're going to take them and do them out here, and then we're going to take them and do them behind our back to open our chest. So starting with them down here, so we're going to go thumb and open, finger and open, finger and open, other finger and open, pinky and open, and then reverse it. Ring finger, middle finger, index finger, and thumb. And then take them out. Thumb, open, index finger open, middle finger open, ring finger open, pinky and open, and reverse ring finger, middle finger, index finger, thumb, and take them out. So watch that you're not leaning back or leaning forward. Weight across your whole foot. Thumb open, index finger open, middle finger, ring finger, little finger, ring finger, middle finger, index finger, thumb, and behind. Thumb, index finger, middle finger, ring finger, pinky finger, ring finger, middle finger, index finger, and thumb. Okay, we're going to do that again. I'm not going to speak this time because I can't say it fast enough. But just like castanets, when you see someone doing them, I want you to try and just go through those as fast as you can. So don't worry about what anyone else is doing. I can't say it very fast, so I can't cue you. You just need to go this one, this one, this one, this one, this one. Okay, ready and go. Okay. And then like that. So the final thing we're going to do, two more kind of wristy hand exercises. It'll take 1 minute. So we're going to come back into this tray of drinks, hands nice and flat, squeeze your heels together, and then, in fact, let's just do one tray at a time. Let's not get above ourselves. So we're going to try taking that tray of drinks round, and then round, and then back. And the idea is to try and keep your hand, so my hand is spread wide and flat. It's not going to, so it stays flat there, but it's not probably going to stay flat the whole way around, but that's your aim. So it's just circling around and then circling around. And let your shoulder move. Okay, and then reverse it. So if you're kind of like, what am I meant to be doing? Just move your hand and your elbow. So try and get those flat movement. And then change sides. The flat movement, we don't actually have a tray of drinks. So it doesn't matter if your hand stays flat or not. It's just something to kind of think about trying. It just makes you move in a slightly different way. Okay, and in reverse, what's coming next is we're going to try both at the same time. So try and get around that full range of movement in your wrist. Okay, both at the same time. When I do this in a class, for some unknown reason, it makes me really happy seeing everyone do this. I don't know why. I always compare it to like, people kind of go a bit trancy. As in, whoa. There's something really satisfying about it as a movement, I kind of feel once you get into it. Okay, and then the very last thing is the same as we did before, the bicep curl, but this time I want you to do it with a wrist flick. So you're going to carve your fingers in, make your fists, so I'm stretching my wrists, squeezing up to the biceps, taking it back down, and then this time flick my wrists back, so as if I'm trying to touch my fingers to the back wall. So fingers come in, curve, touch your shoulders, stretch it out, flick the wrists back, curve them in, touch the shoulders, take it down, flick the wrists back, last one, in, up, and flick the wrists back. Okay, shake out your arms a little bit. Well done, good job. So it's quite a lot of wrist and hand stuff there. We've been doing loads of feet stuff this week. And tonight we're doing foot massage.